So, the Oscar race is coming along now. The Academy has just recently released the nominees, and now people are waiting in anticipation for March the 2nd when the winners are announced. In fact, I am one of those people. So far, the nominated movies include The Brutalist, a 3.5 hour long movie, which is kind of absurd, and I am not fucking watching all that. And we have the Bob Dylan movie with the Timothée Chalamet lookalike alongside the thriller Conclave. But right now, we don't give a fuck about those movies. All we care about is the incredibly controversial, incredibly well-made Donald Trump movie, The Apprentice. Now to be clear, I'm gonna try and make this video as non-political as possible, but to be completely honest, there's really no way out. I've done a fair amount of research on this movie to conclude what is fact and what is fiction. But of course that segment in the video is going to be further down because there are some pretty disturbing things we're going to be talking about today that is in this movie, so stick around for that. The movie trailer for The Apprentice released on September the 10th, and from the moment I saw it...
Roy Cohn, nice to meet you.
The Roy Cohn from all the papers? Yeah, you're brutal.
Guilty as charged.
I was hooked. One of the main reasons being is because I love Jeremy Strong in Succession.
Disgusting. It's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
You're disgusting. You're fucking heartless. What? It's fucking nuts. It doesn't even make any sense. I'm the eldest boy.
And watching him play another evil white guy with power was so thrilling for me. The movie is set in 1970s to 1980s New York, and it expresses that fact extremely well, with a 4:3 ratio for the entirety of the movie, with such effects like TV lines and artifacting that you would only really see in 80s broadcasts and TV. The Apprentice revolves around Donald Trump's venture as a real estate businessman, and how his relationship with his cutthroat lawyer, Roy Cohn, shaped who he is today.
First of all, I have paid an astronomical amount of taxes.
Now, we're all aware of who Donald Trump is and his business strategy, but nobody knows where he got this strategy or attitude he has for the world from. And therein lies Roy Cohn, Donald Trump's mentor in his early life that led to the life he lives now. Roy Cohn was an American lawyer who served multitudes of the super rich, winning almost every single case he went against by lying, blackmailing, and manipulating, doing everything he can to win. And when he lost, he would treat it like a win anyway. Roy Cohn was seen as a malignant and evil character in the business world, which is kind of exactly who the millionaires and billionaires wanted on their side. And the absolute genius Jeremy Strong portrayed this character so well, pulling off the mannerisms and evil look in his eyes just perfectly. If you do actually end up watching this movie, you'll see that it's no wonder why he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. There are a multitude of brilliant scenes that both actors shine in. For instance, the very start of the movie when Roy Cohn takes an eye to Trump in the private restaurant, and the look is everything. Or when Trump gets Roy's boyfriend and kicks him out of his Trump apartments.
You got some feelings now suddenly? You're the fucking devil.
I don't recognize you
You're the
anymore.
fucking devil.
Okay?
Get the fuck out
You
of here.
scared me.
You fucking old man.
Huh?
Another really brilliant one is when Roy is defending Trump for discriminating against black residents in his apartment building.
Objection, speculation.
Mr. Cohn.
How can you say for sure they
Mr.
were
Cohn,
Caucasian?
Please allow Agent Green to answer the question.
I've seen Puerto Ricans whiter than my tush after a long winter.
Your Honor.
And scenes like these are just so prominent throughout the entirety of the movie. Of course, Sebastian Stan also does a brilliant job playing Trump. Everything down to the lip movements and the pacing and repetition of words is just so well crafted. And to be honest, no matter who you are, Trump supporter or not, you can't agree that this acting is kind of next level impressive. And Sebastian Stan is thankfully also nominated for Best Leading Actor. Now to get into the grimy stuff about this movie. When Donald Trump heard about the movie and the stance that it took on him, he unsurprisingly tried to blackmail the movie from his country.
It's a quote, cheap, defamatory, and politically disgusting hatchet job.
And ironically, tried to get his lawyers to take down the movie about a corrupt lawyer, but to no avail. Now being an Academy Award nominee, things didn't seem to go his way. Now, onto the ethical presence of this film. I looked at documents, articles, and audits of legal court hearings. And from what I looked at, this movie is unfortunately very accurate. I say unfortunately because Donald Trump in this movie is represented as kind of like an evil, maniacal character, someone with little to no remorse or empathy to the people he destroys and stomps on to get to the top. One of the more interesting and controversial scenes in this movie, Donald Trump tells his wife at the time, Ivana, that he is no longer attracted to her, and in return, Ivana tells Donald that he's looking worse every single day. Donald then responds by throwing Ivana to the floor and, Kind of guess where I'm going with this one. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this dramatized? And sadly, it actually isn't. It's actually the opposite. In 1990, Ivana spoke out in court under oath during their divorce case about how exactly that happened. But in the court documents, it's supposedly even worse, which is really disturbing and says a lot about how you could do that to someone you love. But in 2015, during Trump's first presidential campaign, Ivana revoked that statement entirely. Look, I can only speculate that Trump did something shady here, considering the timing of his campaign, but it all comes down to whether you believe it or not. Now let's stray away from that, because that was a heavy topic. Everything else in this movie is extremely solid. People around Trump have consistently recalled him reusing Roy Cohn's words. The following words being
Roy Cohn's 3 rules of winning. The first rule is the simplest. Attack, attack, attack.
Attack, attack, attack.
Rule 2. Admit nothing. Deny everything.
Deny everything, admit nothing.
Rule 3. You claim victory and never admit defeat.
Never, ever, ever admit defeat. You always claim victory.
Also briefly mentioned in the movie, Trump actually did get a 40-year tax abatement, which was to build the Grand Hyatt. It basically mean he didn't have to pay tax for himself or for the building for 40 years, which cost New York City a reportedly $410 million. There are also a huge portion of FBI documents that I've seen that Roy Cohn did engage in bribery and consistent malpractice, alongside letters that he sent that give evidence that he was as ruthless and brutal as the movie depicts him to be. Some very small important details too, like Donald Trump giving Roy Cohn fake diamond cufflinks on his birthday, is surprisingly a true story. And in 1986, Roy Cohn died of AIDS and actually did claim it was liver cancer up until his death, refusing anything else. There are also so many quotes going around that people can recall him consistently calling other people gay, cocksuckers, you know, the big F one, when he was himself gay. And later into his life, Roy Cohn did feel betrayed, manipulated, and used by Donald Trump. And if Roy Cohn, the ruthless business lawyer, can feel that way about Trump, what does that say about the president? One of the most bizarre facts in all of this is the fact that this is one of the 2 lawyers that Donald Trump has hired that have been disbarred. The more recent one being Michael Cohen, who pled guilty to multiple crimes in 2019, including lying to Congress. Interesting choice of lawyers, bro, but honestly, it's no surprise that the billionaires want the most ruthless lawyer. Otherwise, they couldn't win. This movie is extremely well acted and well made. I'm crossing my fingers hoping that Jeremy Strong and Sebastian Stan will win their deserved awards, but since this movie is so controversial, I'm starting to really doubt that. Now, this video is extremely different to my usual ones. This video is more about The Apprentice, the movie, and the facts that it shows and doesn't, not about the current president. Like, I live in Australia, and it totally, definitely, 100% will not affect my country in the slightest. So yeah, well, I'm Narcissit, and thanks for watching.
It's just another day in a crazy world. Never take a win if you don't take a failure. There's some pins in my skin, I'ma let it hurt. Touched on, have to find how to make it worse.
Because it is so fucking hot in this. It's 33 degrees outside, and I'm wearing a fucking turtleneck.